Hey, what is up guys? It's your boy Speed here, and today we're going to be looking at Dyrachyo's morphling. Morphling has been one of the most picked heroes at the recent Dream League tournament, and I want to talk about why. I also really want to specify why I think Aster's draft is very bad against morphling, and what they could have done better, at least in my opinion. And on top of that, I think Dyrachyo's gameplay is some of the best in all of Dota right now. There's a lot of people who don't think so, and while I understand their criticisms of him as a player, I think Dyrachyo, what he's really good at is pushing his limits and opening up the map for his other cores. At least when I watch his gameplay, that's what I get out of it, and I'm going to show you exactly what I mean. Alright, before we get into the main part of the video, I do want to let you guys know that I'm not only posting videos here on YouTube, I also frequently post videos on the website. If you don't know what I'm talking about, almost every single day I'm posting a new video to the gameleap website. We're going to teach you guys in depth about how to get to the next level. So if you want to become absolutely broken and really take your game to the next level, I'm going to be able to help you, because sometimes the guides on YouTube, there's either not enough of them, they're not specific, or they're just tier lists, which I know you guys love, but at the end of the day, the gameleap website is going to help you get to the next level. So click the link down below and sign up. Alright, so let's quickly start by talking about why I don't really love Aster's draft against morphling. My problem with Aster's draft against morphling is they don't have a hero that's good at catching morphling off guard outside of Axe. Now, Axe is pretty decent against morphling in theory. When you get Blade Mail and Call, if the morphling player is not paying attention, you can kill him from full HP. That's pretty good. However, that only comes online when Axe gets Blade Mail, and then, honestly, even then, you have to kind of catch the morphling in a creep wave, otherwise sometimes even the Blade Mail call isn't enough. Therefore, I would like Axe against morphling, but I only like it if you really have great follow-up damage from one of your supports. And Pugna is only okay, and Rubik is very dependent on what spell he has stolen. Something like Mirana or Skywrath Mage is a more surefire way of actually bursting a target down when they get called by Axe. So I can kind of get behind Aster picking Pugna or, picking Rubik for a variety of other reasons, but when it comes to addressing the morphling, that, by the way, guys, was picked in the first phase of the draft, isn't that great to me. And it's funny because I do think that Slark is somewhat of a morphling counter because you buy Diffusal and burn his mana, and you steal his stats, which also deals with his mana pool and griefs the hero. However, Ag's morphling is incredibly good at lowering Slark's attack speed and stealing his double long-range pounce when morphling gets Aghanim Scepter. And because of the fact that they lack any true way to kill morphling in the early game, as Primal Beast is not an answer whatsoever, you can literally hear him coming and push him away or waveform away. Look at what Dyrachyo's doing in this game. Look at his farming rotations. He hasn't gone to the defensive part of the jungle a single time. And the most efficient way to farm in Dota, guys, 9 out of 10 times on the majority of heroes, is to push out the lane, farm the two nearby neutral camps, the large camp to the right and the small camp to the right, and then go back to the lane. It's some sort of order like that. And you can even see here, with pretty limited information, what do we even see here, guys? Let's look at the map. We see a Slark bottom. That's it. What is Dyrachyo doing? This guy's a Chad and he knows his matchups, right? Sometimes he goes a little bit too far, that's why he dies a little bit. But I think it's okay because he's not mastered, obviously, it's very hard to master, but he's close to have mastered, taking risk and pushing towers like that. And that's what I think separates certain players. That's what allows them to have a different skill set than other players, because even when Axe and Rubik walk up to him, which honestly is a little bit crazy that he's still pushing his limits, but you can see the type of player that this guy is. And I've played a pub with the guy. He's the exact same seemingly every game. He just goes in. And it's really good at enabling your teammates, which seems sus as a safe lane player, but the reality is that sometimes that's okay, as he ends up living because that call was only level 1, so he gets off strength morph. And if you want to talk about pushing your limits, this is pushing your limits. I mean, he barely got off strength morph. I guess Sumail didn't have ult. To be honest, he probably would have lived even if Sumail did have ult. But yeah, he ends up baiting a 4-hero rotation, a good amount of resources, and he doesn't die. To be fair, I will say that Gaming Gladiators, in theory, shouldn't have responded. He was fine at the end of the day. That's obviously a hard call. It did kind of look like they were going to chase, and maybe they would have if they didn't TP. But yeah, I mean, that's a lot of space in theory. Most importantly, it's space for your boy, the real carry of Gaming Gladiators. And this is something to keep in mind. It's going to open up the map for your other cores. Beastmaster is able to completely free farm as a result of his decisions. And now from there, even same thing here. After he made a rotation to try to save the Beastmaster who just died bottom, he actually is immediately going to hit the tower. And, this time it makes more sense. It's kind of more of a standard play as teams in the area. but he's not afraid. He's willing to let the enemy team run into him and ruin their positioning if they so choose. So he mans up and takes the tower. And now, to be fair, I don't want to paint the picture where it's like, oh, Dyrachyo, all he does is push out lanes dangerously and take risk, and that's why he's high MMR and winning majors. I'm not going to claim that, and nor is that what he's doing, right? We can see here at the 15-minute mark when things get more scary, Axe probably has maxed out call, people's nukes are maxed out, right? It's definitely way more likely he can die in a call. And therefore, he is actually farming pretty defensive on the map. Primal Beast shows mid, and he actually does decide to go top, and is really going to decide to go top once he sees them getting jumped bottom. And this is why it's good that he kind of moved towards top, right? Because if something like that does happen where his team dies, he's immediately in position to take the most efficient farm in Dota and to create the most map pressure by shoving in the wave. And what's really cool is that he's almost assumed the role of the support at this point. I mean, I'm kidding, but like, look, he's warding deep in the lane for them, right? He's literally placing deep lane wards for the side of Gaming Gladiators because they know he's going to be the guy who pushes out the lane all the way. And yeah, it's just cool. I don't know exactly why Sumail reacts to it in the way he does, but Sumail reacts to it. And this creates a situation where Aster jumps near a tier 2 without their Primal Beast. And that's obviously a little insane, but I have to imagine a big part of it is due to Dyrachyo's decision making. Now, I would like to highlight that this gameplay obviously is going to cause you to die occasionally because, for instance, in this clip, I mean, he got sprinted at by an Axe, like literally sprinted at through the ward that he placed. And being Dyrachyo, like any normal player is like, okay, I'm going to wave for him up the hill, and I bought a Hurricane Pike, I'm going to Hurricane Pike out, and I'm not going to take the risk because, you know, realistically, I can't die to Rubik and Axe as long as I get Strength Morph off, which is true. However, other people are coming, and so instead of making the save play, he pikes, but he kind of messes up because the pike didn't actually break the leash, so that was somewhat of a mistake, and unfortunately that does sort of get him killed at the end of the day. I don't know if he would have lived, to be honest, if he did break that. Maybe he would have. Honestly, he probably would have, which is crazy to think that he actually would have baited even more time if he just made the correct pike play, but to be fair, you know, he could have waveformed earlier. I don't know. Maybe he knew Slark was coming, so he just wanted to wait to be able to use the pike and burn the pounce of the Slark. But I just find it crazy and like so funny that he makes that play. And now from here, Gaming Gladiators ends up getting Aegis, and this is actually pretty standard from Dyrachyo. But I would like to say that I really like his gameplay here too, because of the fact that when he's going high ground, he's very disciplined. He doesn't go too far, right? He lets the enemy team come to him, and that's the key. When you're going high ground, a lot of carry players make the mistake of saying, I'm Super Chad, I'm playing Morphling, and I Strength Morph and Waveform, and I can push him away, and I bought a Hurricane Pike, and I can turn into Slark and Pounce and Dark Pact. And it's like, yes, you could do all these things, but you also could let the enemy go into you, and then that allows your teammates to all be in cast range of the enemy heroes. And so that's generally what he does here, right? Doesn't overextend, throws out some W's, right? Which is the adaptive strike, chipping people down a little bit. Gets called. Okay. He's all right. They got some auras to protect him. They got a pipe. So he's fine. He doesn't panic waveform away because he wants to save it in case he needs to go back in, go on someone, for instance, like Sumail here. Maybe he could have tried to E him just to prevent the easy onslaught out, but fine. Doesn't matter. Then he's going to go back in, throw another W, chip down the Slark just a little bit, try to give him some opportunity to actually go high ground, and they really want to force the Aegis, you can tell here. It probably should have slotted in his wand, but he's focused on the team fight, that's fine. Then he's going to continue to hit high ground. Sumail goes in pretty deep, pikes him away, and actually pikes him at the perfect time because Sumail pops his BKB right after getting piked, and it gets completely wasted. From there, he's able to kind of chunk onto Sumail a little bit. Not very easy to kill the guy, he's extremely tanky. Turns into Slark, steals the stats and 70 attack speed from Slark, which is so ridiculous because it completely makes Slark a bot for the duration of the morph, which by the way is way too long with the level 15 talent. 16 seconds? Like, I honestly think this hero will be way worse if they just nerf this level 15 talent to like 8 seconds. Then the hero will seem, I don't know, at least the Ags will seem about right. I don't really want them to nerf Morphling because I don't think the hero's like hyper broken inherently, but the Ags, oh god. He doesn't do anything crazy, he just uses the stats he's stolen to take the racks and they're gonna back off, and this is just really disciplined, good carry gameplay, and people don't understand that. Baiting your team to overextend mostly comes through the carry. Yes, sometimes your psychotic position 3 Tidehunter with Refresher Orb is gonna dive the high ground. It is what it is, then you just kind of have to adapt, but just don't be the guy who baits his team. And finally, the last fight of the game, he doesn't instantly overextend, he picks up the Wisdom Rune, very smart. But yeah, the fight breaks out, he's gonna go in, waveform in, only 4 seconds on Aegis, so he has to be a little bit careful, but at this point, Gaming Gladiators is just a little bit too far ahead. He does get taunted up, but he's okay. To be fair, I would have actually liked to see him buy the shard. I'm pretty sure you can morph even while called, which I think is extremely valuable, but at the end of the day, doesn't matter. They win the game in 28 minutes, and I think a big part of it is Dyrachyo enabling Ace to get a lot of farm. And I don't think people see this, right? They think, oh, Dyrachyo's dying and Ace is carrying, like this type of vibe. But what you have to understand is that very often Gaming Gladiators drafts carry heroes that can be self-sustaining in an area. Therefore, because the carry can stay alone, the supports don't have to help the carry, and they can help mid. And when you help mid, that also helps the offlaner. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed, hopefully you learned quite a bit, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
And that's all, but remember, before you leave, come on, before you tune out, subscribe to the gameleap website where we are going to help you get to the next rank. If you're stuck, click the link down below, and I'm out. Peace.